Well, welcome to the podcast. Nathan Newberry here, your host. I have Harrison Coley here. He's going to be a really cool guest that you guys are going to hear about his story. He's a young guy, but he has some ambition. He's been able to, run, triathlons, marathons. He's a really cool guy. He's an ambitious entrepreneur. He's taught people how to do sales, and now he's shifting into a consultant where he helps people build personal brands and really the media side of everything. So you're going to hear some tactics all the way through his story, and toward the end, stay toward then. We're going to really kind of hit the ground running with some really cool techniques and hearing his advice of how to do that really well. Before we dive in to hearing from Harrison, I just want to let you guys know down below in the show notes, wherever you're listening to this, I have a free workshop that everybody that wants to be a 6 or 7 figure agency or person that wants to build a person brand, check that out. Everybody needs to know how to run ads, leverage AI, build sales teams, media teams. So down below, check that out. I think that would be helpful. Free gift from me to you. Harrison, as we dive into it, I'm really excited to hear from you. But one of the things I ask everybody on this podcast is, what is high performance? What does that mean to you? What does that look like in your day to day?
Yeah, first and foremost, thank you so much, Nathan, for having me on the podcast. Just super excited to be here, be in this conversation, and hopefully drop some sauce that your listeners would love to hear. So, what does high performance mean to me? I think high performance is engineering a lifestyle that is sustainable, that every single day gets you closer to what you actually want. So, I heard this thing that success is defined differently by every single person. I think that's absolutely essential, is like knowing what does your dream life look like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now. And then there's like that cringy ass meme that success is a lifestyle, not a destination. And so to me, high performance looks like just every single day having habits, routines, community, rituals, like everything in your life is designed around being able to do better tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that.
Love that. I love that. Now tell our audience here what you're known for. What do you do? How do you serve people?
Yeah, I'll answer with two things. Personally, I'm known for being a small town Colorado boy that became a drug addict at 11 years old, an Eagle Scout at 18, an Ironman at 21, and a 7-figure CEO at 22 years old. So that's kind of cliff notes on who I am as an individual. Now I'm really focused on building community here in Austin, Texas. On a professional side, I'm known as a growth operator and a growth hacker, specifically on social media and Instagram. So we've been behind some of the biggest personal brands on Instagram, creating the content, running the ads, running the shout outs, bringing in appointment setters, running the DMs. So everything on Instagram to generate awareness and traffic onto an offer, and then actually booking sales calls, nurturing those leads, and making sure people show up and are ready to buy by the time they hop on the call. So we're essentially end-to-end lead generation on Instagram through personal brands is what I'm known for professionally.
Yeah. I love that, man. I got some big questions for you later when we do some rounds for like tactics specifically. But talk us about the origin story. You're a young guy already, but like you've had some challenges along the way to grow, or even going to from 7-figure CEO, which a lot of listeners are listening in on. It's like running marathons, building that resilience, doing Ironmans, running a business. There's a lot of like growth things that you had to go through in your journey, but there's also something at the very beginning that you knew that you were wired a little bit different than most. Where did that come from? Where's that play into your life?
Yeah, so since I was a young boy, I just thought I was different. And early on, that started as a negative self identity of, oh, I'm different, I don't fit in. And so that led me to living almost this double life where around my family, I was a Boy Scout, I was a good student, and then I fell in with the wrong crowd, which led me to getting into drugs and alcohol at an extremely young age. But this part of me that believed I was different was always very entrepreneurial, very scrappy. So at 11 years old, I started wheeling and dealing, both substances, but also I got really into magic tricks. So I was doing magic tricks, and I opened up a professional lemonade stand at the farmer's market with a friend. So I had my first business partnership, my first 5-figure business when I was 11 years old, selling lemonade. We called it Magic Lemonade. So from a young age, I knew I stood out. And for a long time, I tried to hide from that or numb from that by putting myself in environments where I could run away from that, while this like entrepreneurial spirit was just leaking out into my personal life through all these different adventures and how I could make money. So that led into restaurants, which led into photography. Photography led into website design, which led into Google ads and Facebook ads. That led into social media marketing. And just as I've evolved as a human being, I've seen the marketplace evolve. Obviously, now with AI and community building, like we're understanding that the irreplaceable factor, the it factor, is the human being and the community. But then also there's infinite opportunities for leverage and scale with AI and new technology. So it's kind of, that's where my mind goes now, is how do we uniquely position the organic and irreplaceable elements of the humanity in things, while also replacing everything else and automating as much as possible with AI.
Dude, that's wild. I want to ask you though too, like, is your parents entrepreneurial, or is this just like something God's given you that you're wired this way? Like, what was that like?
Yeah, so my dad is like a born and raised Colorado redneck. So my dad grew up hiking around the mountains of Colorado, working on dude ranches. One of the hardest working and highest integrity man I've ever met, but very slow, methodical, just an older way of living. My mom, more entrepreneurial, was a real estate agent. And so growing up, it was very feast and famine in my house. My dad unfortunately got laid off when I was extremely young, when I was still a toddler. So my dad going in and out of jobs while my mom was trying to chase down real estate deals and close one big deal, but then it would be another 3 to 6 months or who knows how long until we closed another deal. So I got to see the good and bad sides of the job instability with my dad, and also the pros and cons of being in
Yeah.
entrepreneurship.
Did that put something in you, like the drive to say, "Hey, I'm not going to have this ever happen to me," or "Yeah, I don't want that instability," or "I want to grow so far that I never have to worry about finances again"? Like, what was that about?
I think yes and no. There's definitely an ambition that's been born into me. By the way, Nathan, you'll get to know this about me. I try not to answer in absolutes because I think it's all relative. But it definitely put a passion inside of me of I want to build something where my kids have security and stability. But I think there's also a lesson in that whether I went the career route like my father in a very recession-proof industry, or if I went the entrepreneurial route in real estate like my mom, either way there's feast and famine, either way there's uncontrollables. So just accepting that harsh reality early on in my journey of like being prepared for difficult seasons and being okay with that. I think a lot of the people that I started out in business with, I've seen burn out or crash out or go bankrupt just because they weren't prepared to actually go through a season of sucking. Um, and I think I got to just encounter that reality early on, that it takes a lot of grit just to get through.
Yeah. Where does this passion for fitness come into it? Like, how did you go for? Did you do marathons? Did you do like half marathon and then you decide the Ironman, or did you just like, I'm gonna do an Ironman, and you're like, how did you build into that?
Yeah, I would say that the Ironman actually is like the thing that saved me from substance abuse. So when I was
Wow.
18 years old, I knew I was going down the wrong path. I was really good student in high school, calculus tutor, good grades, AP classes, but terrible attendance. And I was going to go to college. I wanted to go to college for law, but I was unreliable, inconsistent, and a substance abuser. So that path wasn't really lining up. So I had this reality check, and just out of nowhere, I was like, oh, I want to run an Ironman. And at 18 to 19, it was just kind of like this thought in the back of my head. 19 to 20, I'm still sitting around at this point, making decent money, but still feel like a loser. I'm not physically in shape. I'm not physically disciplined. I'm just chasing money, really. And at 20 years old, I said, enough is enough. Signed up for an Ironman race in Scottsdale, Arizona for like 9 months later, or 10 months later. I signed up for this race and found a coach the next week. Shout out to Jeanette Sorensen. She was amazing. She was literally the reason I was able to finish it. But I went from no athletic, no endurance background to signing up for a full distance Ironman 11 months or 10 months later and just crushing it.
I mean, that's pretty wild, man. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. Like, not by any means. Like a stretch, like the mental grit and grind and relentlessness. Like, what did that anchor in for you?
I think it gave me I had a vision and a why that was bigger than my burnout, which
Mm.
was really important. Is for 2 years I had tried to, just run 5 miles and train up slowly, and maybe I'll do a half marathon and then a marathon. but that level of indecision was killing me. I wasn't actually getting anything done. And so I had to set a vision that was big enough that it just disrupted my patterns. And I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, this is a big, hairy ass goal. This is intimidating. If I'm actually going to accomplish this, what needs to be true? What do I need to be doing? And at that point, like, instead of just thinking I can figure it out on my own, I'll just go on a bike ride, I knew I had to hire a coach. So setting that big of a vision actually gave me the reality check I needed in my situation to say, okay, what realistically is step one?
Man. And then were you building your business at the same time, or was this kind of afterward?
Yeah, same time. So this is actually the same time I signed up for the Ironman. I was working a job doing paper shredding, and that's kind of where I learned. I was building websites on the side, writing blog posts, running Google ads, Facebook ads. Really cool testimony building that paper shredding business. That was like a really foundational part of my marketing experience, being able to have this essentially 9 to 5 where I got paid to learn all of these amazing skills instead of just going out and risking everything on something I had no idea about. I got to, I was getting paid while I could invest my time and energy into these things to help grow that company, and obviously it was successful for them. But when I signed up for the Ironman, was about the same time that I quit the job and went full time on the marketing agency.
I know entrepreneurs that they do this quite a bit where you stack different habits together. And that kind of like helps really kind of solidify it like the new you. What were some of the things that you had to anchor in with your habits that, aligned with the visions that you had with these two new things that you were and destined to do?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. I think there's cornerstone behaviors in anything we do. Like if you have a cornerstone habit, everything else falls into place. So for the fitness, it was my wake up time. If I wanted to train for the Ironman and build a company, and when I first started and work a job, I had to get up at 4 or 5 in the morning, and that was a non-negotiable. So the fitness anchoring cornerstone behavior was just getting up in the morning. Whether I went to bed at 8 p.m. or 2 a.m., I was up and out the door at latest at 5 a.m. And it was either I was walking out the door to go on a run, to go swim in a lake, to go to the gym. It was up and out the door, going to a physical activity. That was absolutely the cornerstone behavior that changed everything in my fitness. And then there's really two cornerstone or two domino things for business that allowed me to go from 0 to 6 figures in my first year as a full-time marketing agency. Those two behaviors is every single day I did outbound. So every single day I called leads. It's like if you don't have a business or if you're starting a business, rule number one, just call the leads. Like knock on the door, call the lead, send the DM. That's cornerstone number one. And then cornerstone number two is I set time to accomplish one task every day. So a task is in build the website, set up the Google My Business listing, build out the client success handbook, set up onboarding, build out the Zapier automations. But every day I had one like focus task. I had at least a couple, it was a minimum of 3 leads a day back when we were starting with rookie numbers. So call 3 leads, build up something for focus, and be up early so I can actually get my fitness in.
And then building an empire, you realize that you can't do it all by yourself. You have to figure out delegation, hiring, firing, using contractors or paid employees. Like, how did you go about building to 7 figures?
Yeah, so thank God I had a background both in my substance abuse, but also as a Boy Scout growing up and through various extracurriculars through high school. I was very involved in teams. So I was the senior patrol leader of my Boy Scout troop. I'm extremely proud and grateful for my time as a Boy Scout. It was very constructive for me, especially with everything else going on in my life. So I understood the power of team building and the power of having a team. So very, very early on, that was a priority, is finding people that were smarter or more passionate or just more naturally talented than I was in different areas and bringing them into the company. So, setting up effective leadership frameworks. One of my favorites that I still teach and apply today is the EDGE method. So, you explain the concept, you demonstrate how to do it successfully, you guide them through doing it themselves, and then you enable them to do it autonomously without your involvement. So, very early on, I was like, okay, can I I'm not a great designer. I'm a math guy. I'm a numbers guy. So one of the very first things was like landing page design and graphic design. I'm looking at my friends who are natural artists, who are doodling, who are like creating all these beautiful imagery. And I'm like, okay, here's the graphic design process that I need you to go through. I'm going to explain what result I need. I'm going to show you exactly how this process works, and then I'm gonna, I'll like hold your hand as you go through the process, and then I'm gonna let you do yourself. So very quickly on, I was trying to buy back my time and um, just build out the team. And that was by the time at the peak, we were doing about a quarter million a month. And at that time, we had about 26 full time employees with about 40 contractors. So a pretty extensive support team and building to those types of numbers.
Yeah. Now, you talk a lot about your faith too. Like, how did that blend into everything you're doing right now?
Yeah, so always believed in God. I mentioned I'm a math guy, so math is really important to me. At a very young age, I was obsessed with long division. Like second, third grade, I was obsessed with long division, and that led into these concepts like quantum entanglement. And like, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of frequency and vibration. And I'm thinking about all these different like mathematical things. I'm like, there has to be a bigger picture here. There's no way all of these are coincidences. Obviously, through the Boy Scout program, I was exposed to some Christianity. My neighbors were Orthodox Jews. So I had some exposure to some religious or faith based cultures at a young age, which was good. When I moved from my hometown in Colorado to Denver to work at this paper shredding company, that was really like the start of my whole journey as an entrepreneur and in my own personal development. I started going to church. Some girl like was, hey, do you want to come to church with me tomorrow? And I said yes, and I just kept on going. And so just started getting really passionate about that. I was like, again, I was always very spiritual, had a belief in something bigger than me. There was a higher power, but I didn't really start to assign meaning to that as God until I started going to church.
Yeah. No, that, I love that because I'm a big believer and Christian, and I think it really underlines a lot of the decisions we make from the identity that we have, not only from ourselves but from God, right? And I feel like the things that we create in building a business is the cornerstone of why we're wired the way we are from service for others, right? You don't see a deer go serve another deer. You don't see an animal do that. Like really, you see humans with the wiring of God to do those sort of things, and creating that expressiveness from God allows us to build amazing business. And the way that you're able to build a service-based business with your consultancy that you have, like talk to us about the need that you're seeing in the marketplace for everything here and how you're really kind of helping people build out these funnels and the needs for everything.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, I will just, yeah, I'll anchor that I've personally seen how much my life can change through self-awareness and forgiveness through faith.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is like a huge, to your point about the deers, like I had to get better and I knew that about myself, and faith has been an integral part of that. So like now I get to hold this belief for the rest of my life of like how much change is possible when we just have belief in something, when we have faith, especially for me, that's been in Jesus. Now, in terms of business and needs I'm seeing in the marketplace and kind of where we're pivoting and where we are looking to the future, the agency that I built to multi seven figures, obviously 26 full time people is very inefficient, and it was a repetition of this pattern I grew up with when I was a kid of going check to check, and there's a lot of uncertainty and anxiety around money, and so I had 26 full time people to feed, and these are families, these are people whose lives are on the line, their rent is on the line. And some months we didn't have the cash. And so it was like, hey, can you not get paid right now? And I wasn't taking a salary, and it was super stressful. And so it was really fun on paper to be doing $250,000 a month and being able to flex that on all the people that doubted me. But I realized that it wasn't actually fulfilling anything. And I was running really fast, but I wasn't going anywhere. Like I had no traction. So, and I see this a lot with entrepreneurs. The same thing in social media where people care about how many followers they have and how many likes they have, but it doesn't matter because they're not building a community and it's not driving business. So where I'm seeing the marketplace now is internally and operationally as a business owner, building a company that is way higher efficiency, way higher leverage with different software and AI automation. So we're building up different AI agents within the company, not only for internal use but external use with our clients. Just more standardization and keeping the business a lot cleaner and smoother running, which has allowed us to build. Right now, it's just me and a couple of people overseas, which has been, it's been so much more like I wish I could employ 1,000 people in the US, but it's been really nice to build a company just with a couple people overseas that are amazing
Yeah.
rock stars, A players, and
What
myself.
countries have
Uh,
you found, as a side note, what countries have you found the best talent?
yeah, I think it all depends on company culture. I love hiring from India and the Philippines. That said, South America is amazing as well. The reason I like India and the Philippines so much is the company culture. So generally, there's an element of spirituality. Genuinely, there's an element of like camaraderie, and we want to take care of each other. Community. I'm interested in building relationships for the rest of my life. Like I'm here to build businesses that last. And so when I'm 50, 60 years old, I still have a positive reputation with every single person I've employed and every single person I've worked with. So far I've done my best to do a good job at that. And it shows with, old team members coming back and being willing to work with me, old clients coming back. So that's really important to me. It's a good litmus test. Um, Now, to your original question, Nathan, about where I see the world going, I kind of touched on this with the community and the AI leverage that I mentioned earlier. Obviously, content production and distribution is easier than ever before with tools like Riverside. We can do a podcast literally on other sides of the globe and still be able to communicate in real time and share a high definition, high quality podcast. So, really awesome leverage when it comes to content production and then clipping this with different editing softwares like Descript or Opus. There's some really, really effective tools for content production distribution. So being able to share across clipping accounts, having affiliate accounts, like there's so much opportunity to reach the 4 billion people that are active on social media every single month. So obviously everybody's on social media. It's incredibly high leverage to produce content on social media. It's incredibly easy to communicate with those people in a personalized way with chatbots and DM automation. So I'm seeing all of these efficiencies in terms of the marketplace that I'm in when it comes to social media marketing, which I think is the most effective marketing distribution channel we have in today's world. Now, what can't we replace with AI content and these fake recordings? It's the actual relationship we have. It's the story that we have. It's the community that we're building. And so that comes down to the message that we're sharing, the culture that we have with our audience, with our team, with our customers. It comes down to who we are as human beings and the level of integrity we carry ourselves with, the standards that we set for ourselves, our teams, our clients. Those things are irreplaceables. Those are it factors. So I've become really obsessed with over the past year building a Bible study to over 400 members and just playing with these different models inside of my own business of personal brand content, messaging, like how polarizing do I want to be? How specific do I want to be in my content? Just being really curious about these these unique elements or these irreplaceable elements of the community and the personal brand side of things while leveraging all of these tools in distribution and DM automation.
How can people find you and collaborate and connect with each other?
Yeah, absolutely. The most efficient way to connect with me is just on Instagram. It's just the Harrison Coley on Instagram. So that's TheHarrisonColey. Should pop up pretty quick. The Harrison Coley on Instagram is the easiest way to find me. And if you want to just DM me, Nathan Newberry, so I know where you came from, that'd be awesome. And then we can start the conversation off with the podcast.
Awesome. I'll make sure to put those links down below. Everybody go follow Harrison. He's such a cool guy. He's a wealth of knowledge with everything that he's building. And then also, if you really want to learn how to build and scale on your own, or you want to use Harrison as a really good guide to help you implement some of that stuff, I got that free workshop down below. You'll want to check that out. Thanks again, Harrison, and for tuning into the episode here. We will see you on the next episode.